As a blind man, I worked the night shift at a large garden facility. On that one night, I wasn't alone. The thought of it still haunts me to this day. It's been 31 damn years since I've been tending to this Garden of Eden they call it, Adam and Eve's paradise. You know, the irony ain't lost on me. They say it's the most beautiful garden in the world, and for all these years, I've been managing it blind as a bat. A blind man in charge of all the flowers, trees, and exotic plants from every corner of the globe. I hear folks talking about its beauty every day. The colors, the fragrances, the beauty I'll never get to lay my eyes on. But I've always wondered, what does it look like? What does the garden really look like? You can imagine how that eats at me. Envy ain't a feeling I'm proud of, but it's there. And now, after all these years, I've decided to hang up my gloves and pruning shears. Retirement is calling my name, and I've got enough saved up to finally see what the world looks like, or at least, I thought I did. Harry, the owner, understood my reasons for leaving. Hell, he's been good to me. But he asked me to spend my last week managing the night shift, counting item stocks, promising some extra bonus for my retirement fund. I was hesitant, but I took him up on it. One last hurrah, they said. Last night, around 2 a.m., I'm walking the familiar paths for the last time. The crunch of gravel beneath my boots, the cool night air, the rustle of leaves, it's a symphony I know better than the back of my hand. And then, I heard them. Footsteps. 2 pairs. Who's there? I called out, my voice echoing through the stillness. No reply. I tried again, squinting into the darkness as if my sight would suddenly return. Silence. I thought, maybe it's just my imagination playing tricks on me. But the footsteps persisted, as if they were dancing around me. My heart quickened. I tried to call out again, but no one answered. Fear took hold, creeping up my spine like ivy on a wall. I made my way back to the office, fumbling for my phone. I dialed the police, breathless and panicked, telling them about the trespassers in Adam and Eve's paradise. When the cops arrived, I led them to the spot where I heard the footsteps. But, to my horror, they claimed there was no one there. No signs of a break-in, no trace of anyone else in the garden. They looked at me like I was some old loon. As they drove away, leaving me standing there in the eerie silence, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. What did I hear? Who were those unseen wanderers in the Garden of Eden? I was left puzzled, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. And so, my last week on the job takes a turn into the mysterious. Retirement was supposed to be a peaceful affair, but now, I can't help but wonder if there's something hidden in this garden, something I was never meant to see. The next day, word of my late-night encounter had reached Harry's ears. He called me into his office, concern etched on his face. Harry, he's a good man, fair and reasonable. We sat down, and he tried to discuss the matter, something he's never had to do in the 3 decades I've worked here. I recounted the footsteps, the running, the eerie whisper in my ear. But Harry, he brushed it off. Gabe, it must be your imagination. Maybe some staff members trying to tidy up. We've never had trouble like this before. I suggested adding more security measures, but Harry shook his head, citing budget constraints. I sighed, not wanting to argue. I just wanted him to know what I experienced. That night, my second night of the week, I delved into the darkness once more. Counting stocks, recording them with my specialized braille device, meticulous as always. Then, I heard them again, those footsteps, but this time it was like 2 shadows racing through the garden. I gathered the courage to confront whatever it was. Who's there? Whoever you are, you will be reported to the authorities for trespassing, I shouted into the void. The footsteps ceased abruptly, and then, a whisper, cold and dark, echoed in my ear, no. Fear gripped me, and I stumbled blindly, attempting to flee. In my panic, I collided with a wall, and everything went black. I woke up to voices, my morning shift co-workers. Gabe, are you okay? One of them called out. I reassured them, confused about what happened. My head throbbed, and I felt the warm stickiness of blood. The co-worker suggested calling an ambulance, but I declined, insisting it was just a minor accident. Word reached Harry again, and he appeared concerned, asking if I wanted to continue working. I assured him that it wouldn't happen again, drawing on my seniority. Harry believed me, told me to call if anything unusual occurred, and I headed home. As I walked the familiar path, the weight of the night's events pressed on my mind. Was it real, or just a nightmare? The day slipped away in a haze of disturbing thoughts, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the garden held secrets beyond its breathtaking blooms. That incident haunted me like a ghost in the shadows. I couldn't shake the feeling that the garden, my Eden, held secrets I could never truly fathom. The days crawled by, and my last night shift approached with a kind of reluctant inevitability. As I stepped into the garden for the final time, a shiver ran down my spine. The night air felt different, thicker, pregnant with an unspoken tension. My fingers traced the familiar paths, but each step echoed with the memory of those elusive footsteps and that haunting whisper. I gripped the handle of my specialized braille device, determination battling the fear that clawed at my chest. Counting the stocks felt like navigating a maze of uncertainty. Every creak and rustle set my nerves on edge, but I pressed on. Around 2 a.m., it happened again. Footsteps, swift and elusive, danced around me. This time, I stayed silent, my ears straining to decipher their origin. My breath caught as the whisper returned, but now it was a chorus of voices, each one sending shivers down my spine. "Leave this place, Gabe," they hissed, their words weaving into the night. Fear wrapped its icy fingers around my heart, but I stood my ground. "What are you? What do you want?" I demanded, my voice trembling. The garden answered with an eerie silence. And then, a presence, cold and palpable, brushed against my skin. A chilling wind whispered through the leaves, carrying a voice that seemed to resonate from the very roots of the ancient trees. "You cannot see, Gabe, but you can feel. We are the guardians of this garden, the spirits that dance in the moonlight. The garden thrives on secrets, and you have become a part of its mystique." I couldn't comprehend it all, the revelation lingering in the air like a mist. Why now? Why after all these years? I questioned, my voice barely a whisper. The response came as a gentle breeze, carrying the weight of ages. "You were ready, Gabe. Ready to hear the whispers, ready to sense the unseen. The garden has chosen you, blind but perceptive." As the night unfolded, I stood in silent communion with the mysterious forces that surrounded me. The spirits, the guardians, revealed the hidden wonders of the garden in ways my blind eyes could never perceive. The fragrances, the textures, the energy coursing through every leaf and petal, they painted a picture in my mind more vivid than any sight could offer. When morning arrived, I emerged from the garden, my senses forever changed. Harry greeted me, concern etched on his face, sensing the transformation within me. I thanked him for the years, for the opportunity to be a part of something so profound. As I walked away from Adam and Eve's paradise for the last time, the whispers lingered in the wind. The garden had shared its secrets, and I, blind but awakened, carried them with me into the light of a new day. The call shattered the tranquility of my retirement. It was one of my close co-workers, panic and urgency lacing his words. Something was wrong in the garden, and they needed me. Without hesitation, I rushed back, the familiar path now fraught with an unsettling tension. As I entered the garden for the last time, the air hung heavy with a noxious stench, and my senses recoiled at the dampness beneath my feet. A foreboding darkness loomed, casting shadows over the once serene paradise. "Hello? Anybody here?" I called out, my voice cutting through the eerie silence. My cautious steps led me further, my hand covering my nose to ward off the foul odor. The ground seemed uneven, and as my foot brushed against something, a chilling realization set in. "Hey, are you awake? Are you okay?" I pleaded, hoping for a response. Silence greeted me, broken only by the rustling of leaves in the wind. My trembling hands explored the figure, clad in the familiar uniform of a coworker. Horror gripped me as I touched cold, lifeless flesh. The garden had claimed another. In a panic, I dialed the police, my voice shaky as I described the gruesome discovery. The dispatch reassured me that help was on the way. But then, a searing pain etched across my back, and a demonic voice, laced with hatred, echoed through the garden. "No one will believe you, Gabe. Who are you? Why are you doing this?" I cried out in agony. "I am Adam," the demonic voice responded, a name dripping with malice. My terror escalated. The police then suddenly arrived, the stench of death, the pain on my back, the blood in the environment had suddenly changed to nothingness. The cops immediately began a widespread search around the entire facility. However, the dead body was nowhere to be found. Confused, I listened as they called Harry, the owner. "Gabe, you must be very tired. I think you should go home and take a rest," Harry suggested, his voice calm but dismissive. "I swear, Harry. I heard it this time. I felt the dead body." I pleaded with desperation. "Gabe, there is no dead body. The coworker on shift is still alive. He was on a bathroom break when you arrived and called the cops." I stood there, bewildered and haunted. Was it all an illusion, a manifestation of my aging mind playing tricks? The garden held its secrets, but now, they seemed to mock me in the darkness of my own uncertainty. The incident became a phantom lingering in my nightmares, a ghostly reminder of the mysteries that elude even the most perceptive.